Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacey if you're new here, and today's video is going to be my January book recap, and I'm literally filming this the day it needs to go up. Filming, editing, all of it. Should have done it over the weekend, but I was sick and did not feel like filming, and it would have been a very low energy video. So here we are. Gotta do what we gotta do sometimes, especially in the life of content creation. And if you don't know, I'm a dream vacations travel advisor specializing in cruises and Disney parks. Created the option to book a Zoom call with me if that is an avenue that you prefer to communicate in order to book your trip. If you have a ton of questions or anything like that, that is definitely going to be a good option for you. That way we can sit down almost face to face and make sure that you're getting what you want out of your vacation. And I have a second channel where I post all of my travels. I am working through my Quantum of the Seas cruise vlogs, and I have no idea what's gonna be posted by the time this video goes up. So, well, actually, no, I do know it's gonna be up. All I have up right now is my Pack With Me video. So I will link that playlist down below. And then on this channel, I post vlogs, coffee chat, week of workouts, kind of a bunch of different everything, the behind the scenes of, filming these types of videos, behind the scenes of doing my Pack With Me's that I post on my other channel for trips and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into the books that I read in January. So I only read 4 books, so let's give you a little bit of background. So I had posted quite a few book reviews. I did my yearly review back in 2024. I kind of stopped posting books in 2025 completely, and those will be all on my other channel, but I do have a playlist on this channel if you're interested in seeing those. It links back to those videos on that other channel if you're interested in seeing what I read then. And I just burned myself out on reading because I read 120 something books, but I didn't allow myself to consume any other media like music, podcasts, movies, TV, anything else. I didn't even hardly listen to music. So I took a step back from listening to audiobooks almost completely and just read what I could on my e-reader, which, if you're curious, this is an Amazon Fire tablet 7-inch that I use as my e-reader. I have a glare-free, which obviously, I think it would be brighter of a glare screen protector on it so it doesn't have too much glare. And then I have it set so the background is dark and the text is white. So while I'm reading at night, it's not overly bright. I have the blue light setting off. So it's almost like having a Kindle or an e-ink. However, it doesn't do great in direct sunlight. I do have to change my settings to a white background, turn my brightness all the way to the brightest it goes. An e-reader with e-ink would be a lot better, but for now, this is what I have, and it allows me to read on multiple different platforms. And if you're curious, this is literally just a scrapbook page. And then these hearts up here are some stickers. And that's pretty much my whole background. It's just a scrapbook paper. So let's get into the books I read this month. So the first book I read was The Surrogate Mother by Freida McFadden. This one was interesting. It essentially was about a couple who have been struggling to conceive, and they went through IVF, and they went through a whole adoption process, and the original adoption that they were going to have fell through. So then the assistant to our main character volunteered to be the surrogate, but then things took a turn. And it's definitely a psychological thriller. It's interesting. It kept me wanting to read more. I don't think it needs to be a book I reread. Most thrillers aren't, because I already know the plot, but sometimes rereads give you a insight into the foreshadowing that you might have missed, which I have a couple rereads this month. So I'll get to that in a second. So the next book that I read was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, the Hunger Games second prequel to the trilogy that everyone knows and loves. And I actually only read Hunger Games for the very first time, I believe last year, and I loved them. I loved it. I never could get into the movies, but I think it was one of those things that I wasn't going to be ready to read till I was ready to read. If you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense. Because I was like, this is stupid. Why are, if you know the Hunger Games, you know, like it's about the Hunger Games. Why are they making children fight to the death? I don't understand. This is a stupid story. But when the movies came out at the time, I wasn't really that into a lot of dystopian stories. I was more fantasy or mostly fantasy. And I still love fantasy. So anyway, I loved this story so much. It was a really good read. I started this about a week prior, not even, just under a week prior to my cruise I went on. And then I finished it literally on the airplane. No, I finished it the first night we were on vacation before our cruise day. I read most of it, a good chunk of it on the airplane, and then I finished it before I went to bed that first night. So it was really good. I still have a ton of questions from like is it Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? I think that's what that one's called, the first prequel. I always mix up what words go where, like birds and songbirds, so I don't know. Anyway, some questions from that, and who knows, maybe Suzanne Collins will give us another prequel to answer those questions somewhere in the middle of that. Okay, so my next two books are both rereads, and it's gonna be Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I don't know why, I just felt like I needed to revisit that world because it is one of my favorite series of all times. I read Fourth Wing for the first time in 2024, and then if I remember correctly, Iron Flame came out that same year, or did it come out in 2025? I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. I read Fourth Wing, reread Fourth Wing before Iron Flame, read Iron Flame, and then I reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So that's 3 times through for Fourth Wing before Onyx Storm came out. And then I listened to the graphic audio again before Fourth Wing came out. So I can't count that as a fourth read. This is my fifth reread of Fourth Wing. And then for Iron Flame, I read when it came out, before Onyx Storm, the graphic audio, and then again in January. So 4 times, 4 times now. And so I just love the series. I love the world. It's such a complex story that I am finding new foreshadowing things from Iron Flame and Fourth Wing that give me information into Onyx Storm. Like, Rebecca Yarros has done such a good job giving us this information that it's like, oh, it was literally in front of my face this whole time when I reread. And I love that. So I've been highlighting and taking a little bit of notes and things like that to give like something, because I'm going to reread the series at the very least 2 more times, because there's 2 more books that have yet to be released. The next book has yet to even have been announced. So I will reread this series at least 2 times. So that has been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying my reread. I'm currently reading Onyx Storm, and those were the 4 books that I read in January. So for February, I'm going to finish up Onyx Storm, and then I haven't decided which series I'm going to start with. I'm going to start either the Inheritance games or the Housemaid. One of those 2 series. And that's going to be what I end up reading for February. If I finish those series or not, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Either way, I would like to at least read 2, because both of those series are 3-book series. So or is Inheritance Games 4 books? Either way, I want to read at least 2 books in whichever series that I start. So yeah, if you are enjoying my monthly book recaps, this is literally the first one. But if you liked this video, please comment down below and let me know what you're reading this month. And if you've read any of the books that I read this month. And if you are interested in booking a trip with me, the link will be down in the description box below. We can book a video chat via Zoom. I have a link where you can schedule that on my website, and visit my other channel if you are interested in any of my travels. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.